I was a director,
A
so
director.
I was a technical director of newscasts. But obviously, I know the editorial side of it too, because I'd worked there for so long. But that was my job. Yeah, 'cause all those things you mentioned, masking, distancing, locking people up, all that seemed to be done. Obviously, we all know this now, like under the guise of safety, right? And my thing is, I don't think that anybody, all the, for lack of a better term, normies would have gone along with this had this not been for the news. So it was like a big, big machine that infiltrated our world and pressured us to do this. But a big part of this was the media, right? So if you go home and you watch the news, your parents are watching the news, your neighbors or whatever, you think you're learning about what's going on in the world and what is right because of the news, because the news is not supposed to lie to you. Never in my life did I think that we were. I mean, sometimes we're very slanted with things and biased is quite obvious, right? But like, we're not supposed to lie about things about your safety. So this is the lie that's hard to absorb.
I think Bonnie Henry is your medical health.
Yep, she's our public health officer, and our premier is David Eby. The tall drink of water. He's been unelected. The only reason that he's the premier is because the other lady that he was running against got disqualified. And so he's the premier by default, sort of
But
unelected. And he is enforcing Bill 36. So in this province, our healthcare workers are still not back to work. And he's also threatening optometrists, acupuncturists, naturopath, massage therapists, all the other medical practitioners for them to get jabs if they see fit. And if you don't get a jab, you can face jail time in this province, and you can be fined up to $200,000. That's in the language of Bill 36. And our friggin' news doesn't even talk about that. So a lot of people aren't even aware of that this is a thing. And that's another big problem. Like, it's actually outrageous in this province that we would treat any human being like that. I can't even, what is this? We might as well move to North Korea. That's where we're going.
that's
And,
where
our newscasters might as well wear those outfits because they're not saying anything of truth anymore. They don't stand up for the people. And the thing that upsets me, I guess for me personally, that's why I speak out so much about this, is I worked there for 20 years and nobody was about to join me in speaking up, which was quite bizarre. And they're still, it's just like, I knew those people to be journalists and human beings. Now it's like when I think it's a combination of money, so keeping your job, and it's a combination of being psychologically, you've been psyoped. You've been deceived. So a lot of them have been deceived too. People in the newsrooms, when you get direction that comes down, you just go with it. Like, a lot of people weren't thinking, oh, we must be lying about the shots and Bonnie Henry must be lying. Nobody's going to think that. You're going to think that people that speak up like us, we're crazy. That's what it is. You
that's,
don't expect your newscaster to be the crazy. Maybe you'll expect little Anita to be crazy, or Tony who wants Sunday shopping closed. Okay, look at these crazies, right? Well, we're not going to listen to these crazies. We're going to listen to our public health officer. Who's your public health officer in Nova Scotia? Who was it?
Robert Strang. He should
Okay,
he
I
should
don't
be
know.
he should be in jail with Tim Houston and Ian Rankin and Steve McNeil, the two former Liberal premiers. Just totally disgusted with this this whole and this forest fire situation. I just can't believe it, Anita. But
I think they're trying to limit where you go once again. They're telling you where you can go.
exactly.
They like to tell you how you can move and where you can move. And the reason I think that these forest fire things, people believe that you need to have bans is because they just tell you that on the TV. They just tell you that on the TV. They put on this nonsense. They go, I watched our newscast the other day because, you know, I have to keep on top of what they're doing. And we throw to our weather person now, and she's going to tell us basically nothing. You know what she told us was that it looked moist, you know, that it looked like there's precipitation or something. Oh, but the danger isn't over yet, so you still need to worry. Back to you. That's exactly what happened. It's a show. It's theater. They cut to the weather person that says nothing, doesn't show us anything, you know, and then they throw back to the anchor and going, we're not out of danger yet. So then people at home go, oh, we're not out of danger yet, or whatever.
If we go by this, that some may not call it fair, but I call it fair,
Mm-hmm.
nobody would be able to get together with their family and have a campfire, or if you wanted to burn something because they were too scared.
Mm-hmm.
This all ties into this 15-minute cities. I don't care what anyone says. I believe they're trying to burn different rural areas that they can't rebuild and have to go in town. We're going to be enslaved just like China. I wish people would wake up. It's not good. I know you must be seeing it. Anybody that's awake is seeing what's really playing out here. And I never thought I'd see Canada like this. Never.
The hardest part of this is that you don't know it. Like you're in something so big and so vast and so scary, but no one knows it. Your neighbor doesn't know.
No, they don't.
My best friend has no clue what I'm doing. She's my best friend. Again, I think that it sounds preposterous that your government would do you harm, right? So if you think back to COVID, it's like, of course, they would never do us harm. Of course, we wouldn't get hurt in the hospital. And, you know, of course, oh, look, oh, yeah, vaccines come, everybody back to normal, right? That was the whole shtick, right? And so now the new shtick is maybe fire. They were going to burn everything down. Oh, what are you going to do with fire? You know, like they're weaponizing things that have never been weaponized. So you can weaponize a virus because they got us all used to Zika virus, SARS-1, MERS virus, bird flu, whatever. Then we kind of think this is just part of life, right? So why would the government harm us? Why would this even be happening? It doesn't make sense, right? So now we can go to fire. Oh, these fires couldn't be set on purpose. They would never do such a thing. It's like that, you know, like, because if you say this to people who don't get it, they'll say you're crazy. Because look at how it looks. It's a big show, right? So on the news, you'll hear 100 firefighters are coming from Europe to come and save us. You know, we're flying them in. So it looks like the government's doing something against this evil natural terror, when really this evil natural terror can be questioned. Where did this come from?
Climate change.
But it seems to have just the dial's been turned up just like that. Like in the past 3 years, like COVID kicked this off. COVID tipped the bucket. Like it does seem like so many things are being weaponized, you know, nowadays. And it's all like an onslaught. When before we were just living our lives, and now we have so many big things to worry about. So it is hard. It is hard. Right? You know, the big things of what's going to happen to our finances. How is this, you know, this CBDC stuff going to go down? What are they doing to us to put us in these 15-minute cities? I was fired basically right at the beginning of the convoy because, you know, I guess the whole reason why we're talking is because I worked at Global News and I kept asking them questions. They didn't cover things. They kept telling me to be quiet. I kept getting into trouble, yada, yada. A lot of people know the story, and it's quite well documented on my Rumble channel. But
Why did they fire you?
what they actually said in my termination letter was that I didn't wear the mask properly one day. I didn't adhere to mask protocol. But they never actually, is that within my rights? I don't even know, but they actually never told me. I kept asking him, can you tell me how these masks work in the first place? I would like to see something. Can you show me, or there's bad rates of transmission going on here at work? Can you tell me that? And they never show you anything. They just tell you to wear the mask. And so that was the first thing on my termination letter was you didn't adhere to mask protocol. What a stupid, stupid reason. To get fired. Okay. And then the second reason was they said I violated journalistic principles, which is hilarious to me, seeing how they had no journalistic principles whatsoever throughout this whole thing. I don't even know how I violated the principles. And then something I didn't do something properly with social media because they got mad because I tweeted something about why the churches were closed and the gyms were closed and the casinos and the strip clubs were open. So they got mad that I had tweeted that. And that's why I got fired. I really hope that everybody realizes now. Like, I'm not here to throw global news completely under the bus, though they were complicit in the COVID narrative for sure and other things. I'm not trying to say they're all bad people. Some of them were just very misinformed. Right. So some of them were deceived also, not deceived, but they just believed the narrative. Right. So that just like how it was everywhere else. Right. The people, and the people that didn't believe you, they didn't speak up because you get fired like me.
But Justin Trudeau paid, what is it, $1 billion?
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
they're going to do whatever Trudeau says. If he says,
so like from the top down, yeah, right. But the general workers, like myself, I didn't know why we were not reporting all of the facts, like, because I could see the facts because you could just look them up on the internet. It was pretty easy to find things, but we were not reporting it. But what I'm saying is technical staff, your local staff, a lot of them didn't know. So I'm not saying like we didn't get checks from the government. The corporation did. Right. Like, and the higher ups or however that money came to them, it came to them. But the people just working in the newsroom, the low people, like, we didn't know about it, just the minions. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not like somebody gave me a check to put something on a newscast. That's not what happened. That was given, those directives and that money went to the top. And then orders were given,
They didn't share it with you.
No. Most of the staff had no idea, right? That these were dangerous. No one was looking into it. This is how passive Canadians are, or not even Canadians, because this happened everywhere, right? Just going along, not even thinking about it. Oh, this must be safe. No one's thinking about how they manufactured all billions of vaccines. I know we're wrapping up, but I do realize that my voice is kind of important, seeing how I was in the machine.
Yes.
I want everybody to know who's watching. I worked, we have a network, so I've directed shows across the country. It's not just British Columbia. And I worked on Global National too. So I'm telling you guys, anybody who's watching, that global news didn't report the full truth to you about COVID. So know that.